Hello, so today I'm back with another episode. This time I'm here with my mom.
Hello,
You want to tell them your name?
my name is Tamika.
Okay, so my mom is here because we're going to be talking about a juicy topic that me and her have been discussing for a while now. But I think it's time to talk about it on camera with other people. So, mom, what's the topic?
Marriage is not aesthetically pleasing.
Yep. So,
It's not for the weak.
um, I only been married 2 years, but my mom.
I've been married twice. First marriage, 8 years, and my second marriage, which I'm currently in now, we've been married for 12 years.
So a total of 20 years of marriage experience. So that's gonna be a lot to talk about. Mom, do you want to start us off? Like, what would your advice be for somebody who's not married yet?
For one, to seek counseling, just to make sure that's what you want to do, because marriage, from a biblical standpoint, you need to understand that once you're, you're joined together in your union, the devil is going to be busy, and all hell will break loose. So it's not for the weak. It's not the fairy tale thing. Of course you get the wedding and all that stuff, but it's really about that marriage, and it is hard work, and you can't. You gotta. It's only gonna be what you make it, basically. It's just only gonna be what you make it, but you gotta make sure that's what you want to do.
Yeah, for my generation, I feel like everything is on social media. So like people, they want to post all the cute stuff, the flowers, the wedding planning, the looking for dresses, all of those different things. That's cute. Bachelorette parties, all of that stuff is so cute. But I hope you're ready for the spiritual warfare that's going to come, because what I've learned is God does not put people together for all the cute stuff. He's not putting y'all together to be cute on social media. He's putting y'all together because it's a big purpose that he has for that union. Like, your marriage is supposed to encourage others and bring others closer to Christ. So it's always a deeper purpose behind why he's bringing two people together. And of course you'll have those cute moments, but it's not going to always be like that. The devil hates unity, and he will do everything he can to interfere with that, especially when you're unprepared.
Yeah, that's the truth. I don't know. All I can say it's just not for the weak. You have to be ready, and it took experience for me to learn that. Like, I feel like my daughter, like, she knows so much more. When the first time I got married, we went to church, but we didn't really know the Bible. We didn't know what marriage was really about. It was like a blind leading the blind. We were young, no examples to look to, just like, it just literally, like, we just didn't know anything. So I feel like that's why that didn't survive. But even in this one, like, whenever you're married, you're constantly learning things anyway. You're always going to be learning. Things are always going to change. But to go into a marriage, you literally got to make sure that's what you want to do. I feel like a lot of times now, marriage is not, I'm not going to say like respected, but people don't really have
Like a good understanding
of what marriage is, and it's like, I feel like a lot of people take it for a joke, or
like it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah, just a piece of paper, or if I get mad, or they do something wrong, oh, I need to go. He did this, I need to go. It is not like that. It's not like that. It's a really serious commitment. It is, and it's gonna be times where you do not like each other. It's gonna be times, I'm telling you, do not like each other at all. And things might seem really, really bad, but you just gotta stay in prayer. Sometimes separation is necessary depending on what the situation is, to keep it real. And you just gotta just stay in prayer. That's it, because the devil does not, his job is to actually bring you guys, like, tear you apart, tear families apart. He doesn't want families together. So and sometimes he uses that person. He uses your spouse.
Yes.
Sometimes he uses your spouse. So, yeah. You just gotta, like stay prayed up and just take it serious, and it's only gonna be what you make it. Yep.
And I think it's also something I've learned. It's important to make sure that the man knows how to cover.
Yes.
He has to know how to cover the family, the union spiritually, because if he's off track, then you know the enemy is coming for the wife.
Yes.
Full force, because there's no covering. So that's an easy target right there. I noticed, and it's a trend going on right now amongst a lot of Christian marriages. Like the husbands are just out of their mind. Like they're in their left mind, not their right mind. Like they are far gone, and it's because the enemy purposely. He knew whatever weaknesses they had. He knew those things. He prayed on them, and he made sure that, I'm gonna do everything I can to keep this man distracted, to keep him with his eyes completely off of God. Or it can even just be small things that take his focus on. You don't even have to be the worst person. Like I would say for you, like it don't have to be something that's obvious, but it's the little things that start to sow division in between the marriage. And before you know it, if you're not spiritually there yet as the wife and you don't know what's going on, you're going to feed into the temptation, to his ignorance and the things that he's saying, and then before you know, it's just going to be like,
I'm out of here.
And both parties, they have resentment towards each other. It's a lot of stuff. The enemy is very strategic with how he builds things up, and it starts with something small, and then before you know it, you in a separation, you on the way to get a divorce, stuff like that. Like you have to be very cautious. And I think very aware of what you're really stepping into, one, and the responsibility that it takes from the man first to cover, and then the woman to be able to follow his lead. Because it's a different thing when the woman is, the spiritual leader in a marriage. That's a heavy burden, and we know all about that.
A very heavy burden. It is. It really is. And I will say this, even though you're dating that person, you still need to know what's going on down that bloodline.
Oh yeah.
You need to know exactly, and that's something that I'm just learning.
Yes.
Like you need to know not only what he's about, but what's going on in that bloodline.
Yes. You'll be fighting his grandfather's demons.
Yeah, like everybody. Yeah, it's really serious. It's true. But you learn. I'm learning all this different stuff, and I'm just learning it. I'm just learning a lot of stuff. And this one, I feel like this marriage, I'm fighting a little harder because no one gets married to be divorced. I know I didn't. But some things require separation. Sometimes people may, say they need to get a divorce, but it depends on, like the situation. So,
And I would say when you're doing things God's way, it's no shame or condemnation that comes with that. It's no shame for taking the time that you need to step away from a person so that you can be in the right headspace to war. Like, this is spiritual warfare, and sometimes when you're in the same atmosphere as that person, you're too tempted to feed into their ignorance. So when you're in that environment, it's hard to grow spiritually while you're also being tempted at the same time.
Right.
Sometimes when you're already in that covenant and God put you there, but things are just getting to that point where it's like, all right, the warfare levels is too high.
Right.
This person is not responding to the call of, he's not responding to the voice of the Lord, nothing. And you're the only one praying. Sometimes that's what you got to do. And vice versa. If it's the woman who's not responding and the husband is standing in the gap praying for his marriage, sometimes you need to step away, and there's no shame or condemnation in that. Like, God, he wants you to have rest, and he wants you to do whatever would give you the most peace. So sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to step away for a little bit to get back in the right headspace, so it could just be you and God again, so you can pray and focus on him with a clear conscience, not all the toxicity or the negativity that comes with being around your spouse at the time.
And then he actually needs to have his own encounter with God as well.
Yes.
So he needs that alone time as well. Like if he'll take it, you don't know you're not there, but hopefully he does, because he needs to have his own encounter with God.
Yeah.
And that's some advice to I would give to someone that's not, hasn't gotten married yet, is to make sure, their relationship, see what their relationship with God is like first, because he can't love you or do anything for you until he loves God first.
Ooh,
So
that's a good thing too. I would say, because for me, I notice now that pre-marriage, I didn't think about what the reasoning was behind why a person has a relationship with God. I noticed that people can be performative. They can have a relationship with God because that's what you want, and the whole time it's only contingent on your relationship and how well it's going.
Right.
And as soon as things go left, that God is not the first person they call on, because they didn't have a relationship with him to begin with.
Right.
So that's a good thing to be mindful of beforehand. Like, does he seek God on his own? Does he want God for himself? Whether it's a husband or a wife, you need to make sure that they want God for themselves, that they are actively seeking him and pursuing a relationship with him, not that they're changing or doing something only because they want to be with you, because that's not sustainable. That's not going to last at all. Mom, let's talk about red flags not to ignore.
So, I'll say for me, okay, so coming from, like a previous marriage where things were not so good, when I came into another relationship, years later, and I looked at the fact that, he's a family man, and, had a great relationship with parents, all that stuff. He's there when I needed him to be, but I didn't look at the and sometimes it could be the smallest things, I'm telling you, like the smallest things, and I feel like God had, it's not saying that, he's a bad person, but it's things that really were important, like I should have, and I just ignored.
When it comes to marriage, yes,
right.
They matter.
Because I felt like, okay, well, the good outweighs the bad. Like,
right.
He's just like, oh, he just feels like a little like this, or he feels like, and I really should have paid attention to that. And God's like, I showed you all this stuff.
Yeah. Give us examples.
So I could say, I'll say something like, I get a job or something like that. And I'm, oh, babe, I'm making, X amount of money, whatever, this is going to be good. And it's just like, like,
no celebration.
No celebration, no, or it might have been like a little negative talk. And like I say, I'm not going to make an excuse for it, but I will say I do know sometimes, like with a man, they don't feel, they feel a little insecure.
When a woman is independent.
And I'm a very independent person, so I would say, I would try, and because I've done things for myself and my children for so long, that's where my independence came from. If I can't depend on you, I have to depend on myself.
Right.
So that's where that came from. So when you come into marriage, but I think it's also important to still allow, your husband to feel needed. You know what I mean?
Like interdependence.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be once you get married.
Yeah, to feel, let me feel needed or whatever, but at the same time, I feel like you should celebrate your spouse, or celebrate, because I feel like if one win, we all win.
Right.
So I feel like, stuff like that I didn't pay attention to.
That end up being things that were serious problems in marriage.
Yeah. Yep. You have a lot of things that lay dormant, and sometimes they don't come out until.
Some
and
things
it could
you
be
just
something from childhood, and they come right out. Yep. Yeah. You gotta just know what's down that bloodline. You have to know. You have to really have those hard conversations and just find out, like try to find out as much as you can. Actually seek the Lord. I would just say that.
Yeah.
Seek the Lord, because he's not gonna steer you the wrong way. So you gotta seek.
But even
God.
with that, because I feel like I sought the Lord. I'm telling you, if somebody, I think seeking the Lord is something that's so important. But also, like we were just in church on Sunday, and the pastor was speaking about how sometimes God doesn't even tell you what's ahead of you. It's some things you really just won't know until you get there. Because if He told you, you would not go through it.
Right.
You would run from it. I feel like that was definitely the case with me, because I was like, I sought the Lord and I am blown away because this is not what you told me. But whole time it's like, He said, I'm going to make a woman out of you. I didn't know what that meant. I just was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna get a new job, some stuff like that. Oh no, I was out of work 11 months, and the only job I had was praying for that marriage. That was my job for 11 months. Like, literally, that became my full-time job at one point. So, sometimes He won't tell you, but it's nothing to be scared of. It's just knowing that He'll literally walk you through it, the whole entire process. I'm not even the same person I was a month ago. Like, once you're in that flow of literally trusting and depending on God, you realize that it's nothing ahead of you that's too big. Like, you are more than a conqueror, and it's a fixed fight. He's just trying to develop something in you.
Right.
And I noticed that it started with me. I was like, Lord, no. He got all these things that He need to fix. He said, oh no, I'm dealing with you and your sin. I'm dealing with your pride. I'm dealing with your anger. I'm dealing with your trauma. And you're going to sit still for 11 months. And you're going to pray about you and how you can be a better wife. Like, and I was like, excuse me? But that was the reality of it. And it produced a wonderful result. So I'm grateful for it. But a lot of people will run from something like that because it's a scripture in the Bible where it talks about how no discipline is easy. Yeah, so in Hebrews 12:11, it mentions how it says, for the time being, no discipline brings joy, but seems sad and painful. Yet, to those who have been trained by it, afterwards it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness, right standing with God, and a lifestyle and attitude that seeks conformity to God's will and purpose. And literally, that's what happened. It was ugly. It was painful. I was like angry. I didn't even want to talk sometimes because I'm like, yo, this is a different level of fight that I've never had to deal with. And the focus is on me, and I thought that the focus was supposed to be on Him. And God was like, oh no, I'm turning you into a woman. I need to get to Him. I'm starting with you. So I think I actually came out with a book last September, and in that journal, I discussed how sometimes when we get married or we're in a relationship, we think that all of our prayers should be focused on, Lord, fix them, fix this about my spouse. Whole time, He wants you to start with you. You're supposed to look inward first, and then He can focus on what needs to change in the other person. But all your prayers should be directed at you. When you're praying for your marriage, it should be, how can I be a better person? Lord, open up my eyes. Lord, humble me. Lord, help me to have what is it, that scripture now? Gracious and attractive, so you will have the right response for everyone. Remember that? How the Lord says in Colossians 4:6, it says, let your conversation be gracious and attractive so you will have the right response for everyone. Those are scriptures I had to pray. I got so many screenshots in my phone of scriptures that the Lord made me make my screensaver. I had to make it my screensaver on my phone, my iPad, because He was like, no, I'm literally, your faith is on trial right now. You said you got all this faith. You believe this and that. Okay, well, it's on trial right now. And I'm going to, literally, God was like, I'm going to allow this to go on because I'm trying to develop something in you, and I'm trying to break some things off of you. Ephesians 4:2, this was something I had to literally remind myself of every single day. It was, always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. And I had to do that. Like, the Lord was like, I don't care what you can possibly point out and say, oh, he's wrong for this, he's wrong for that. He said, I'm telling you to remain humble, to have gentle responses, to be patient with him, and to make allowance for his faults because of your love. And you know, in the Bible, it speaks about what love is. It keeps no record of wrongs.
No, and that's a big one. That is a big
Like-
one right there. And that's something I was big like, no, he did this to me.
Yes.
She did this to me. No, that's what they. And God said, nope. You work on you.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and look at you.
I think that was a part of humility. Like when
Yep.
when I asked God, I was just, you just pray a lot of stuff. Lord, help me to be humble. Help me to be patient.
Yeah.
You don't even know what that means when you praying it. Like,
You don't. When you ask for patience, you
he's
better.
gonna send something.
You ask
That's
for
gonna
patience.
test it.
Yes, right. Yep.
And he's gonna send something that will be a situation where your pride wants to like defend, argue back,
Yep.
prove a point, and he said, "Oh no, I told you to be humble. You don't have no points to prove."
What do you think your most challenging experience was so far in marriage? So far. Because you're always going to be challenged. You said you're always going to be challenged.
The whole thing was challenging. It's like but
It is.
no, the most challenging I would say is having to take the focus off of his wrongs and his faults and his sin and put it on me, because I was in this place where I thought that his sin outweighed the little sin I was doing. Like, okay, I might have cursed you out, but you did this, and that don't compare. But the Lord was like, sin is sin, and blessings and curses can't come from the same mouth.
Right.
I can't use you as a vessel, and you're also allowing your flesh to have more power. So I had to die to myself.
Yes.
That was a challenging thing, because I thought, I was like, Lord, I've been did this, but he was like, oh no, you didn't get to the root. He said, I'm taking you down to the root issues, the trauma, the reason why you feel so defensive, the reason why you are reacting like this. Like the Lord, I think pride was probably the most hard thing that I had to deal with, the Lord taking off of me. I had so much pride in what I thought I did and how far I thought I came in my walk with Christ. And the Lord told me, like, you didn't even scratch the surface. Like, it's some stuff I did not even know about myself, about God. And he was just like, no, like, I'm exposing all of these things because it's been lingering for too long. You've been having to focus on him the whole time. Like, no, it's time to deal with you. And I'm a completely different person now. I'm a humble person. It don't matter what is said to me now that's going to get me to have a prideful response. Like, I remind myself in those moments, I'm a humble person. I have gentle responses. Like, that's literally me now. What, a year or two ago? Oh, I would have cursed you out. And I'm telling, I would have cursed you out real bad. I would have been fueling with anger. I don't even let stuff have that type of power over me anymore. Like, the Lord has truly taken all of that out of me. And it was definitely hard and painful. It took a lot of sitting in silence, sitting in isolation, crying, praying. I could be mad. I can tell the Lord, I'm done with this. I ain't doing this no more. But here I am now, where it's like nothing can tell me that God is not good. Like, nobody can tell me God is not good. No circumstance can make me think that he's not going to get me through it. Because if he could walk me through one of those seasons like that, and he purposely made sure I had no job while I'm doing this. So the focus is all on me and my character. So I'm like, that was a difficult time. Can you imagine being in the house every single day for 11 months? and God is telling you this is what I want you to focus on. I'm praying for a job. I'm praying for everything else. He said, "Oh no, I'm not doing none of that until you get this together." But that's what I had to do. That's what he needed to take me through, and he knew I needed the atmosphere and the space to do it. So he cleared the path, and then he lifted me up when it was the right time, and I got a job, and everything that I was praying for started to take place. But his appointed times are real. It's a scripture in Isaiah 60:22 where it says, "At the right time, I, the Lord, will make it happen."
Yep.
You cannot speed up or slow down his time. He has appointed times for everything. And that's just something you can't change. I used to be so mad, like, Lord, this needs to happen today. If this don't happen by 12 a.m., I will not be praying about this no more. And he was like, you can say all you want. You can say that all you want. Guess what? When you wake up tomorrow, you're going to see it's the same thing. And you still going to have to pray about that. Because I told you what you need to do. And that's just how it was for the whole 11 months. And I'm still praying about stuff. And still being, I'm still growing, still learning, still being set free from old ways. Like, it's a continuous learning and growing process.
Yes, because I'm in the midst of it. So, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm learning this time that I'm taking. God set us apart. And I'm actually spending more time and just learning things about myself and trying to get myself together and focus on what I need to do versus him.
Yeah, so if y'all want us to continue this topic, we can make a part 2. But I think that's it for now. We'll leave it at that. Mom, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I would say just make sure that you're seeking the Lord pre-marriage. just seek the Lord. And just make sure you are not ignoring your discernment. Like, don't do that at all. Because a lot of times, we ask God, is this the person? And he may tell us that it's not the person, or he may say it is, but I feel like we ignore because we want it to be the answer that we want to have. So I feel like when we listen to ourselves, then we get in it and we have to deal with all the stuff we did because we didn't listen. So, we're going to talk about that on the next episode. So let us know if y'all want us to make another one of these videos.
Yep. And we'll see y'all next time.
See ya.